on this video today how I took an old CD holder, like cabinets, remember those back in the day? And I transformed it into a beautiful modern cabinet. So I'm going to show you from start to finish. So we're going to do a little bit of refinishing, restoration, and then basically really recycling it so that we can use this cabinet for something else than what it used to be for. So what are we waiting for? Let's begin. All right, as you can see in this cabinet, this is what it looked like when I bought it. Now, mind you, when I went shopping, I must have passed this cabinet probably 5-6 times. Kept going to it, opening the doors, closing the doors. Obviously, it's an old-fashioned kind of look. And with the price tag that it had, I knew that it needed a lot of work. So I guess I just kept passing by it and saying, should I get it? Should I not get it? I'm pretty sure a lot of us pickers probably go through that, or, you know, when we're going through an estate sale, we're just not sure what we want to do with it. But I knew it had potential. It is kind of cute like this, but that was back in the day when we placed our CDs in there. So anyways, after I don't know how many times I passed by it, even people were like, you know, do you want this? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. Opening and closing the door, I did see a vision of what I wanted it to look like, but I knew that it was going to take a lot of time, a lot of work, and materials. So I decided to go ahead and buy it. So I just wanted to show you what it looked like before, because I didn't take a picture of it. So here it is before. Okay, so let's start with this project. Let's go. First thing we had to do is some demo. So I removed the two middle slots for where the CD holders were, and then I also started patching. Here I'm just showing you where the two slots were actually at and where I had to patch on the bottom, because that was pretty deep for me to patch. And here is the front and also side trim that was also removed. Here are the areas that I'm just showing you where I had to add wood filler from the bottom to the back of the cabinet, as well on the top. I also had to fill some wood putty on the sides as well. A couple more holes I had to fill on the side and also in the front area, so they are all patched up also with wood putty. Now I'm taking my sander and I'm using a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go around the whole piece everywhere that I did add the wood filler to. I'm going to go ahead and start sanding that, and as you can see, we're going to start on the bottom portion of this cabinet and then move on. Now I'm taking my detail sander, just in case I missed any areas with the round sander. This just makes a smoother, easier finish, especially like on the corners and the edges. And just always make sure that you feel to make sure that your piece is smooth. And now I flip the cabinet over and I'm going to sand the underneath of the top where all the wood filler is. On this side, it was a pretty heavy wood filler that I had to add, because again, once I removed those slots that were in the middle, there was a lot of nails, there was a lot of work there, and I apologize for not getting that on video because I wasn't thinking about recording it at that time when I demoed it. But same thing, you're going to sand it with your sander, still using a 220, and then I'm going to go over it with the detail sander as we did on the other one. Okay, so now it's time to sand the back of the cabinet. We're still using a 220 sandpaper. Go over all the spots, and as you go, just make sure that you feel the area to make sure that you got everything covered. So this is not really so bad. This didn't have a lot of wood filler as the other ones did, because like I said, it was deep and there must have been a few fills that I had to do. I probably filled it 3 times with letting it dry in between for every time that I put it in. Here I wanted to show you the top. So I already sanded it once. I'm going to go ahead and sand it smooth one more time, still using a 220 grit on it.
because we want to keep this raw look and then seal it. Okay, so the cabinets have been all sanded down with the 220, and I wanted to keep the natural wood. It looks awesome. So now I'm putting a protective seal on it. I am using a wood wax on it, and I'm going to coat it, very evenly, and also make sure that you also get the sides and then also the inside of where the metal part is. Make sure that you get all that, and you can tell a huge difference on top there and on the side where I've done it already. What a different color. I mean, check that out. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to continue on the other side now and make sure I get all that. Same way, just use your wood wax evenly and just make sure you smooth it out. And don't forget those sides. But look what a big difference. As you can see, the one on the left-hand side, and this will dry. So once it's dry, it looks a little reddish right now, but it will dry to look obviously like that. But look at that. What a huge difference. All right, so now we are making some support boards for underneath the cabinet. And here I am using my track saw because we're going to have to build a bottom reinforcement because we're going to be putting new feet on this cabinet. Always make sure that you wear safety goggles anytime you're cutting wood using, machinery. Okay, it's time to get dirty. So we are now ready to apply our boards that we just cut, and this is going underneath the cabinet. So I'm applying some wood glue, not just some, a lot. I love wood glue. So how you can apply it is with your fingers like I'm doing here, or you can also use a glue brush that I normally use, but I also like using the fingers like this to get it on the corners. You can really get it. Make sure that you also make sure that you have a wet cloth near you because you want to make sure that your fingers are clean. Also, when you're done using the glue, you want to make sure that the tip is clean as well. So go ahead and rub that out, around very smooth because again, we're going to lay our first board on this and we want to make sure that everything is laid down correctly. So we're going to take our board and lay it down. Press over it. It is time to get the big guns out. Here I have myself my nail gun. So now that we have our board that we obviously glued, now mind you, the wood glue is very strong, but you still need a second security blanket, I'm going to call it, just to make sure that that board stays. So this is why I'm using my nail gun. So I'm going to go around the whole piece and make sure that I tack on the corners, on the sides real good. There is no, what's the right amount, whatever you feel is necessary at this point, but go around the whole thing and make sure that you have it down. Okay, so now we are ready for our second board. We're going to apply the wood glue. Same thing, go around, with your finger, or again, if you're more comfortable with a glue brush, use that. Just go around the whole piece, make sure that each corner is covered. Because we will be, laying another piece of wood on top of that. And we just want to make sure that everything is... Well, before we apply that second piece of wood on top, we do have to put that trim down first that I cut. So it just makes it easier because I want to make sure that it is flush. So I'm putting, same thing, the wood glue on the trim. And then after I got that done, since I glued it up, I added a little more glue to it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and secure it. And now what I'm using is I am using a pin nailer. So my nails are a little longer on this one than my nail gun. So I go over the whole piece as well, making sure that I have everything covered. Make sure that you get those sides covered and also the edges. The edges are very important as well. So now that my glue is all dried, I need to make sure that the back end here is flush with the back of the cabinet. So I'm using a router here with a flush trim bit. And all I do is just make sure that I go all the way down and it does it all the work for you. These are so great and I love this tool. It just makes the job easier and it's a lot of fun to use. So now I'm ready to measure the feet that I bought. So I'm going to go ahead and position them where I want them and then drill some holes just so I know, because once I start painting on the bottom, I just want to make sure that I have my holes ready so that I do not destroy my paint job after that. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the sides and make sure that all that is covered, and then we are ready for our next step. So I cut some more boards, and these boards are going to be used for, I'm adding 2 shelves in the cabinet. Okay, so I'm going to double up these boards so they can be a little thicker. So of course, here we are with the messy glue again. So we're just going to rub glue all over on one side of this piece of wood. And again, you can use a wood or a glue brush if you're more comfortable. Again, I like it this way. And you get, to me, I feel like I get a little more even. And I like, of course, getting a little messy. So I'm going to cover all that up. And again, make sure that you have a wet rag near you because your fingers do get nasty. So we are going to add these 2 boards together. And then we're going to be sanding them later after they dry. So some parts, like on the edges, as you can see, there's a sticker on there when I bought the boards. And I'm not worried about that right now because we're going to worry about that later once it's all nice and dry, that we can sand every part. As well, sometimes you're going to have leftover glue on the side that you're going to want to sand. So I'm going to be using clamps here. I've got a couple of different sizes, and this is just to make sure that my board is, put together. The glue is going to take, and you're going to let this dry. Now I'm going to leave it in my work area. It's the temperature is really good. I actually did turn off the AC for a little bit. So it's going to be just fine. The dry time's going to be fast for this. So I'm just going to put the clamps on there and, let them dry. And the reason why I'm also doing so many clamps, because these 2 boards, you want to make sure that they do stick together well. So I kind of like to mix the bigger ones and the small ones as well as the medium ones, just to make sure that I get all of my grips. And then, you will see glue coming off on the side. As you're doing this and you're adding these clamps, go ahead and start cleaning up the glue as well. All right, we are ready to paint. I'm using an angled brush. It's going to make it easier for me when I do each of those rails there. And the color that I chose is a cast iron skillet by Blackberry House Paint. If you go to their website at blackberryhousepaint.com, and if you like this color or any other colors they like, if you use coupon code RevaChic15 at checkout, you will get a nice discount. But it's a really nice, smooth black color. I love this color. So I'm just going over each of these rails and also on the edges of my project. This angled brush really helps when it comes to that. So I'm going to get all of my edges, the corners on the top there, and then the rails, and then we can move on to the next step. Now I'm ready to do the back. I'm using a roller for the back, makes life easier. I'm using a microfiber roller with my paint, and it's so smooth. It gives you a really nice finish and a really smooth finish. So I continue now on the bottom of the back side, again with my roller. I just love this microfiber roller. It really goes in smooth. Now on this paint, I am going to be putting 2 coats. I'm not going to be doing that on the video, but after this coat dries, I will be applying a second coat of it. And now I'm going to go ahead and apply the paint on the bottom. Same thing with the roller. And just make sure that you cover all that, and then you're good to go. Okay, now I'm taking like an oval size, it's a smaller oval brush, to go ahead and paint my trim. I did put tape up there because I did want to separate it, because on the top we are keeping it neutral, like that color of the raw wood, you know, where we're going to seal it. So all I'm doing right now is painting the trim as well as underneath the trim and right there by the sides, and also where the magnets go. So now I flipped the cabinet upside down, I guess, and I am rolling the sides, and underneath where obviously the board is that we used our router, look how smooth that looks. And then we're going to be painting black and also the back. And same thing, I am still using a microfiber roller on this. And I had a little tape there that I had to move, and that was for my, for my top. So be very careful with that because, your top was sanded down. So go ahead, and now at this point, I'm going to be painting the whole piece. And also, like I said, underneath, and then we're ready for that next step. So in the beginning, we made those holes, remember, before we started painting. So now that my paint is dry, I'm going to be attaching my new metal legs to my cabinet. I love these legs. So I already made it simple, we made those holes. So now all I'm doing is kind of putting my I keep calling them legs, but they should be feet, right? I guess they are kind of long, but let's just say feet. Putting those feet in. So now I'm going to go around just to make sure that my screws are nice and tight. And it looks like that they are. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my next one and then go around, obviously the piece and add the other 2. All right, now I'm ready for my top. So I'm using the same thing as I did for the cabinets. I'm using the wood wax, and I'm making sure that I cover the whole top and the sides and any creases that I have there. Just make sure that you cover it very well. And then once you cover that, I would just flip your, lint-free cloth there and just give it a good clean, and then it will dry. And it will look just like the cabinets. Time to take those clamps off and ready to start sanding. So you just remove them. They might get a little stuck here and there. Take them all off, and then we're going to start sanding. Okay, we are sanding this piece down. So make sure you get both sides, okay, top and underneath, and also each side. You might see some glue there. Make sure that that's also removed. We're going to wipe it down, and we're going to go straight to rolling some paint on it. So we're going to go ahead and put our first coat on this piece. And again, I am going to be doing 2 coats, and then this is going to be our shelf. So painting both sides of them. Make sure that I also, paint the corners and the sides and underneath. And once that is done, then we are ready to put this cabinet together.
Now, how about that? How do you guys like that? I love how that turned out. This cabinet had such beautiful wood to it. As soon as, I took it all out, sanded it down to the raw wood, the colors in the wood were just absolutely gorgeous. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope that you can subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and also click on that notification bell so every time I do post a new video, you'll be notified. Also, this also helps my channel grow. So till next time, bye-bye.